Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of The Mighty Thor. This is volume 1, the Omnibus collection. Now it's the new format, so they've changed a few things, already a bit dented. How many times do I get books like this that are dented? However, volume 1, and it's obviously slightly thinner now. I've got volume 2 here, and it's volume 2. You can really see the difference. Look at that format change. At the same time, it's not a big deal for me. Not a big deal, but still. You've got the standard, obviously, all the pictures on the back, always great. What does it include? Now, it includes Journey into Mystery 83 to 120. That's a key thing to remember, 120, and annual issue 1, because I've got the epics. Now, it's not a big deal for me because I've got the volume 2 of the Omnibus edition, so obviously the overlap is covered in this one, volume 2. But this and this, well, unfortunately, that runs out at 120. This runs out at 125. So you've got there. So you've got volume 2 here. Also, some of the extras are a bit different. So you've got some of the extras like here. This is in the Epic collection. And likewise in here, I've got a few extras here. You've got various ones at the back here. They're not included in the Omnibus edition. Why didn't they go with everything they've got? You'd think that they would put about 40, 50 pages of bonus material. There must be loads and loads of bits of work of Thor, maybe some checklists or whatever, everything else. But still, it does of course include the checklists. I love checklists as well as letters pages. So let's go through the book itself. It's really, really good anyway. I just love it. Brilliant stories, thoroughly. Not every story is brilliant. I have to say some are a bit. You got the contents there. Also, the origin story. Now, of course, it's in the garish colour scheme. Now, obviously, not everyone likes that. The only way, of course, to get around that is to go and buy either the original ones or the reprinted ones. And that is one thing that's slightly weird, the way they've included the back. They've included, like, the Marvel Tales. So you've got the Marvel Tales there, which they didn't include, I don't think, in the other ones. Why did they do that? They included, obviously, some other extras. So, like the Journey Mystery, which is included in the Epics as well. But there's quite a lot that's not. But you got those. Just seems odd, an odd choice of putting those. I mean, nothing wrong with having the special Marvel edition, etc., and Marvel Tales things, but just odd that they didn't include the other extra material as well. And surely there must be more than that. Is that it that they could have included? I mean, you get something like the Conan Omnibus edition, which is like 150 pages of bonus material. Just when you pay a lot of money for this book, you really, really, I think, at this stage, again, because of course this material has been reprinted lots of times now. And I think that if you keep reprinting books, I think each time you reprint them, put a bit more in. Because people go, oh, you know what? That's what I'm going to buy. Will people go and buy this again? If they'd put about 20 pages of extra material, which wouldn't cost them a huge amount to put in, people would go, the completists would turn around and say, you know what? I've got to buy that again. They'd probably buy it anyway, but that's a different matter. Just seems odd just to think. But still, you've got some real duff stories here, but they still have a charm. They're still great. Thor versus the Executioner. Not the Executioner with the Enchantress, though. That obviously comes later. Thor captured by the Executioner. The artwork is, of course, superb, absolutely brilliant, super sharp, which you'd expect. Though actually, at times, when you look at some of it, it could be sharper. But I suppose it depends really on the source material. It's unfair to turn around and say maybe this. And there's certain points where you look at it and you look at Thor there. There's a lovely bit there. Thor walking through. Looks very odd looking Thor. And also Loki. The colouring scheme is slightly odd. Obviously now he's slightly changed. So but it's just odd when one of my favourite characters. Good old this one Zarko, wasn't it? I think his name was Tomorrow Man. Of course, pre-Kang, the Tomorrow Man. I wonder if he could have been the contender. He could have had his moment in the sun. He could have been the Kang character. We'd have had like films about him and he would have been in the Disney series and those sorts of things. Would have been good. Prisoner of the Reds. They had a lot of those sort of stories and you of course got a dramatic there. Absolutely love that. Also, of course, the good old job code there. I think that's the sort of thing that always appeals to me, reading the job codes and things. And that cover, I think that cover's great. Absolutely, I love that red and the yellow and orange. Just absolutely glorious. Though it looks like, weirdly, they've got Bruce Banner there as well. I just noticed the background. Bruce Banner has obviously been captured as well. For some weird reason, he's not turning into the Hulk to help Thor or hinder him maybe. But you got some great look. And this one, I love this one. Carbon Copy Man was one of my favourites. It's got the weirdest of art. It's just Al Hartley. It's just so odd. And yet, for some weird reason, it's just one of my favourite stories. I just love that one. Just classic, absolute classic. Oh, you got this one as well, which is afterwards. Again, another story that could have been a contender. Sandu, Master of the Supernatural. Now, one, he could have been a good villain for Doctor Strange, couldn't he? You got Loki. Now he's got his proper colour scheme there. He's got their green, whereas earlier on he was brown. Most odd. You got this one here, Merlin, another character that could have obviously made it in the Merlin the Mad, no less. Poor old Merlin. It's a Lava Man. Of course, good old Lava Man as well. They were great stories. I love that one. And the artwork's quite odd for that one as well. Oh, Don Heck, isn't it? Yeah, inked by Don Heck. I always thought that was an odd looking bit of artwork. Those ones are great. Cobra or Cobra, not certain. Obviously, Mr. Hyde, Dr. Hyde, Mr. Hyde. Thor's showdown with Mr. Hyde. Great bit there. And it also includes these as well, which is always good. Of course, you've got all the good old tales of Asgard as well. I always felt that they should stick those at the back. I wouldn't have put them with the rest of the story. Personally, no, obviously when they came out, they were in order, but it would be nice to actually have them all in their own separate section at the back. So you've got the Tales of Asgard all in one nice row, all the Thor stories in one row as well. Anyway, got another little introduction here by Stan Lee, and this one's 1993. Obviously, these were the Marvel Masterwork introductions. And oh, here it is. I love this one. Got the good old Enchantress. Absolutely great. The Enchantress goes in there trying to seduce Blake, and giants walk the earth. Classic story again there. Obviously, there's Loki. Both out of my sight. Poor old Heimdall as well. Guardian of the Mystic Rainbow Bridge. And the classic Thor one as well. I love that story. Absolutely, always all-time favourite. The Magneto one in here, and I don't know if I passed it. I think I've passed that now. But the Magneto one, of course, never turned up for some weird reason in the UK. Don't know why. It was probably in the earlier like Terrifics and Fantastics. For some weird reason, it didn't appear because of the X-Men. Didn't appear in our UK comics, and it always somehow that story jumped, and it's always big. Oh, here it is. Typical saying about that. Here's the Magneto one. Just absolutely brilliant Magneto one there. I am Magneto. Don't know why. Why they just didn't include it, but because of a reference to the X-Men, they couldn't. Very strange. And of course, you've got those as well. I love letters pages. They're always just great. Yeah, just brilliant. And sometimes, of course, you can find some very famous people in these things. You go, oh, think, I wonder if that's X, Y, Z. And you think, never realise that. This one's 2010 from Stan Lee. Obviously, a little bit more about it. Again, this is something that I always think that these omnibus editions, I would love to see more articles by fans or real serious collectors of that comic book who bought them at the time. It'd be just brilliant to read people's recollections about them buying the magazines, what they were doing, like when they went to conventions to discuss, things like Thor, etc. Just would be a nice little touch if they added those in as well as other things. Must be more material than the material they got. And of course, you're going all the way through the trial of the gods, etc. But again, like I say, it finishes 120, which is a pity because, like I say, it doesn't exactly match these ones. So if you've got these, unfortunately, it means that volume 2, you've got an issue with it. You have to keep, obviously, both. And you might want to keep both anyway because of the differences in the extra bonus material at the back. But I'm not going to get that. I will probably get rid of those ones. But it's just, it's slightly, you think, There is one, the Spider-Man one, I must admit, I'm thinking, it's very tricky. Spider-Man Epic number 2, where it's got the brilliant Ditko's bit at the back, is not included in the Omnibus edition. You think, oh, why? Likewise, of course, the original Library of Congress one that they didn't include either. And you got these extras. You haven't got much. Very little. Oh, another Stan Lee one at the back as well. This one, Meanwhile, Back in Asgard, Stan Lee. And again, like I said, the Marvel Tales. Very odd inclusion, but still really good because I love those Marvel Tales. Absolutely brilliant things with all the, especially when they did the covers. They were my favourites. Not so much when they did the sort of standard sort of like that, which is fine. I mean, nothing wrong with that. But I liked it when they just put the little thumbnail of the covers. I don't know why, but they just always, whenever I pick up those sort of issues, they're always just great. Just enjoy those. And that one, Journey in the Mystery, one with the carbon copy man. Really great story. And again, an unusual one. Marvel Special Marvel Edition. Was it that's strange. Special Marvel Edition. I always call it the other way around for some weird reason. Still, this really great little collection. Again, really, really thin. You can see how thin it is. And let's just compare it against the other one. That's volume 2. So you can see there, it's, you know, I suppose not excessively different, but just slightly, but it is slightly, you know, and some people turn around, oh, I want the, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I've got lots and lots of different books on my shelves. No book ever matches against another book anyway, so I'm not sort of seeing rows and rows of the same sort of books. Sometimes actually nice to have things break things up as well, have different variations on the size there, but it's fine. Lee. Kirby. I wonder why they did that as well. That's another thing slightly different. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. They put that, and yet this one, the new one, they got Lee. Kirby. Very strange. That is very odd. One of the things they've done differently. No, can't see anything particularly different. Does feel definitely light. It feels lighter than this. Maybe I'm just kidding myself on that one. But still great. Full of absolutely brilliant stories. Absolutely love it. Now the cover, well, in many ways, obviously, I prefer the covers that are actually covers than the new sort of covers, the newly drawn ones. I'm certain that there is, and I'm certain if I take this off, no, it's not. It's just a standard like that. It's very strange. Probably in the back they might. Sometimes they do, don't they? They include the thing. No, it's exactly the same. How odd. Would be nice if they put both. Well, there it is. Thor, the Omnibus. Just love it. Volume 1. I'm really glad I got this. So it's totally recommended. I mean, obviously the stories I've read many, many times, but still I'm going to reread them, I'm certain, for many years hence.